Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the Officer Adda 24/7, the special session of your BRBL subject. So in today's session, I'm going to discuss you a very important act that is a part of your Indian Contract Act, and the act name is Sales of Good Act 1930. Okay, so first of all, we have to understand that this act, okay, this act is basically the sale of goods. Okay, so this act deal with the movable property. So what is movable property? The property that can be moved from one person to another, this is called movable property. So we have to deal this act with a movable property. Suppose if Nikita ma'am want to sell her bike to Rohan sir. So Nikita ma'am is seller, Rohan sir, you are buyer. So buyer will give the price of that bike and I will give you my ownership of the bike to you. So this is called sales of good act, in which there must be two parties. Is that okay? So this is just a basic thing about the sales of good act. Now class, we will understand this topic with a beautiful example. Okay, now see. Suppose class, this is a car, right? This person is seller who want to sell his car. Okay, this is a car, and this person is called as the buyer. Okay, who just want to purchase the car. So seller and this buyer. Suppose the price of the car is 1 lakh rupees, that is a second hand car. So seller want to sell the car to the buyer. So in that case, what will happen? The buyer will give the price of the car to the seller, okay, and the seller will give the ownership of the car to the buyer. So this is what exactly happened in your sales of good act. So two parties are there. Seller is giving the ownership. So there's a two word, ownership and possession. So ownership means the absolute right the seller is giving to the buyer, and in that case the buyer is giving the price. So the contract between the seller and the buyer is called sales of good act, a very simple definition. Okay, so in this act we have to deal with this, what is sale, what is agreement to sale. So sale is basically immediately transferring the ownership from one person to another, and agreement to sale, that is the future sale. Okay, so this topic basically we have to understand what is sale and what is agreement to sale. Okay, so sale is basically the present one, and agreement to sale, that is basically the future one. Okay, so this is very important topic. Okay, and one thing I just want to highlight you that from Indian Contract Act, the two act has been removed. The first is your SOGA Act and the second is Indian Partnership Act. So SOGA Act, chapter 7 of Indian Contract was SOGA chapter, and Indian Partnership chapter 11. So two chapter has been removed from this act. Okay, so this is just a brief introduction about the sale and agreement to sale. Is that okay, class? Okay, now see. Then class, we have to understand in this topic the rights of unpaid seller. So what are rights of unpaid seller? So unpaid seller is basically, we have to understand that what exactly the unpaid seller. So unpaid seller means the buyer have not given the full price of the goods. This is called unpaid seller. So suppose if buyer is not able to give the goods, so the seller have a certain rights. So in this chapter, we have to discuss the certain rights of the sales of good act. The first is, see, what are the topics that we have to understand? Condition, warranty, contract of sale. Okay, only these three are the important topics of your sales of good act that you people have to understand, and that is a part of the syllabus. As I already told you, from each act, only that portion you have to study, that is the part of the syllabus. So in the sales of good act, these are the three topics that you have to understand. Is that okay? Then transfer of ownership, transfer of ownership, types of good, essential elements, right duties. So these are the sub parts of the contract of sale. Is that okay? Now class, one by one. Sale involve two person, that is buyer and seller. So no need to discuss who is buyer and who is seller. A contract of sale of good is a contract under which seller transfer the goods to the buyer for the price. So this is the essential element. Seller transfer the goods to the buyer for a price. Okay. Then guys, when the property in the good is transferred from seller to buyer, this is called sale. So this is the definition that you have to understand what is sale. Okay. So sale is basically when the property in the good is transferred from seller to buyer. This is called sale. Cool. The consideration for sale of goods is the money payable for the transfer of goods. In the sales of good cover only sale of movable property, not immovable property. So each slide, that's a summary. So each line is important for the examination point of view. Please say this point. Is that okay? Cool. Now the next one. The Sales of Good Act is important so far as the bank lending assets is concerned. So why this act is important for the bank? Because lending against the assets, bank do not have lend against unpaid assets in the view of seller lien on the assets. C class. Suppose if a bank is giving loan without any keeping security, so this is the unsecured creditor. So unsecured creditor, it's not a surety whether the borrower will keep the money or not. But if we talk about the creditor who have taken the security, so that have more rights as comparison to those creditor who do not keep security of the borrower. Okay. When the transfer of property in the good is to be take place at a future time, subject to some conditions, this is called agreement to sale. So again, this is important. What is agreement to sale? So sale and the agreement to sale, these are important concept. Okay, these are important what concept? Sale and agreement to sale. An agreement to sale becomes sale when the time elapses. Exactly, this is when future sale becomes sale, because agreement to sale is basically the future sale and sale is called the present sale. Okay, so when agreement to sale becomes sale, when the time elapses and the conditions are fulfilled, subject to which property in the good is to be transferred. Okay, then class, what is condition, what is warranty? These two are important terms and that is the separate topic. If we talk about the condition, so condition is basically, suppose if I just want to purchase the bottle that can store the hot water, so I just demand from the seller given me the bottle. In my home, when I just pour the hot water, the bottle become burst. So in this case, Nikkita ma'am have a right to either reject the goods, breach of contract and demand for the refund. Okay, so these are the things that I can just do in the condition. So water bottle, please learn this example, water bottle. Okay, so in condition, I have a right for refund, I have a right to breach of contract, and I have a right to reject the goods. Okay, reject or ask for the new one. Okay, so you have to learn the definition that is given from Sales of Good Act, the stipulation agreed between the party that is essential to the main purpose of the contract. This is called condition. And what is warranty? The stipulation, that's the rules, regulations, collateral to the main purpose of the contract. So this is called warranty. In warranty class, I am giving you an example. Suppose if I just purchase the fridge, the shopkeeper told me that Nikkita ma'am, you have a 2-year free of service from our side. So free of service means if anything happened to my fridge, the shopkeeper will give me the free service till 2 years. So this is called warranty. So in warranty, we don't have any right to refund, to take back our goods. No, only we can replace the item that is attached to the goods. Okay. So when Sales of Good Act deal with the rights and obligation of buyer, seller, apart from condition and warranty covering the sales of good. Okay. The provision of the act is relevant to the banker who often act as an agent for collecting the bills, accompanied by documents to title of goods, and as a holder for value while discounting the bill finance against the goods. Okay. So this is important. We are seeing that how the bank act as an agent. Okay. How the bank act as a holder. Okay. That's it. So in that way, the Sales of Good Act apply in the bank. So that is important. Is that okay, class? Now see the definition of unpaid seller. Unpaid seller have a right. The first is lien on the goods. So what is lien, class? Lien is basically, if we say, that is a holding power. Suppose if buyer is not able to give the money and the goods are in the hand of seller, the seller can hold the goods. So lien on the goods for the price while he is in possession of them. This is in the case of insolvency of buyer. Suppose if the buyer is insolvent, right of stopping the goods in transit after he has parted with the possession of them. He have a right to resale and withhold the delivery. So these are the rights that is in the hand of unpaid seller. Okay, that is important. So only these three are the topic. That is the part of your syllabus. Please read all the topics. Please read all the topics. Is that okay? So this is unpaid seller. Now class, we have to do some questions. Okay, now number one question on the screen is that dash means consideration for sales of good. Tell me, class. Dash means consideration for sales of goods. So consideration, I have already told you, that is something for something. Okay, so the answer is very simple, that is a price. Okay, that is the price. That's a consideration for Sales of Good Act. Okay, now the next one is goods as defined under the Sales of Good Act does not include. This is your previous year question also. Goods which is defined does not include. So class, shares, stock, grass, these are movable property. So that's include in the definition of goods, but actionable claim cannot or is not included because actionable claim is there in the Transfer of Property Act that's deal with the immovable property. So that's why this is the right answer. Okay, dash goods are manufactured, produced, acquired by seller after making of the contract of sale. Dash goods are to be manufactured, produced, acquired by seller. So in that case, the right answer is future goods. Okay, this is the right answer. Dash goods mean goods identified and agreed upon at the time of contract when the sale is made. So this is your future one. So this is the right answer. Okay, so all questions are important and don't think that these types of questions will come in your exam. So these questions are your Macmillan book. So I have just given you just for your this one, concept clarity. Okay, that's cool. Now, dash means voluntary transfer of possession from one person to another. It's a delivery, lien, indemnity, or suit, class. Tell me. Dash means voluntary transfer of possession from one person to another person. Tell me, class. So class, here means that is the delivery. Okay, so this is the right answer. Delivery means voluntarily transfer of possession from one person to another. Okay, now the next one. when the transfer of property in the good is take place at a future time, subject to some condition to be fulfilled, the contract is called dash. Tell me, class. At the future time. At the future time and subject to some condition thereafter to be fulfilled, the contract is called what? Agreement to sale. It's a contract of sale, contract of future. So class, that is already given here. This is called agreement to sale, because agreement to sale is the future sale. So future sale will execute only when the time will elapse, or the contract will be executed when the conditions are fulfilled. Okay. In dash, the ownership of the transfer is yet to transfer from seller to buyer. Tell me, this is agreement to sell, contract of sale, contract of future goods, and contract of specific goods. So class, yet to transfer, this is called agreement to sale. This is the right answer. See, important part. Done. Equity share are goods within the meaning of Sales of Good Act. Tell me, class, equity shares. So we know that the share, it is the movable goods. So equity shares, preferential shares, all types of shares are the part of this. So that's why this is the true answer. Okay. Fixtures can be regarded as movable property only when they intended to be severed and sold separately. Severed means that can be separate. That can be separate, class. Tell me. So class, here we have fixtures can be regarded as movable only if they intended to be severed and sold. That is absolutely true statement. Okay, now, if stipulation agreed between party is essential to the main purpose, so I have already highlighted essential to the main purpose of the contract. It is called what? That is important. This is called definition portion. So definition portion will definitely come. Definition will be there, and there will be the 4 options. So you have to tick mark on the right answer. Okay. So here we have essential to the main purpose. So this is called condition. This is called condition. Okay. Now, a dash is a stipulation collateral, guys, collateral to the main purpose of contract. What is this? Condition, warranty, implied what? What is the right answer? So a dash is a stipulation collateral. So collateral, that's definition is defined in the warranty. So this is the right answer. Cool. Now, there is a implied condition on the part of seller that has a right to what? Implied condition on the part of seller that has a right to use, sell, retain, resell. Implied condition on the part of seller that he has a right to. He also have a right to resell, retain, sell. You can say here that is resale. Okay, suppose if buyer is not able to pay, he can resell. If a sales of good is by dash, there's an implied condition the goods shall correspond with the description. It means if seller have described the goods and if buyer have purchased the goods by seeing this description, so goods should be according to that description. So in the T1, the right answer will be description. Okay, cool. Now, in every contract of sale, it is implied that the seller has got the right to sell the goods. In every contract of sale, it is implied that seller had got the right to sell the goods. The answer is yes. In implied warranty as to quality fitness for the particular purpose may be annexed by uses of trade. Uses means that's a custom. Habitual things that the So class, for this one, this is absolutely the true statement. Yes, okay. This is absolutely the true statement. Okay, it's not resale. He can sell class. Okay, so that's why I was just searching this portion. This is sell class. Okay, this implied condition the part of seller that he has a right to sell the goods. So this is the right answer. Cool. This is the right answer. Cool. Now, then class, the seller of the good is deemed to be unpaid seller when the price is not paid. Okay, when the price is not paid. Done. There is a no dash as to quality and fitness of goods for any particular purpose. So this is your implied condition. When dash is in possession of goods, lien can be exercised. So when the seller is in possession of goods, then only the seller have rights to retain the goods. Dash is terminated when the buyer gets possession. So that is the lien. So this is the right answer. Then when the property in the goods, okay, has not passed the buyer become insolvent before the price is paid. The seller can withhold the delivery of goods. This is absolutely the right answer because seller is insolvent. A seller who have accepted a negotiable security has an absolute payment is no longer an unpaid seller. The seller who has accepted a negotiable security as an absolute payment is no longer exactly. So negotiable security is basically that's a check, bill of exchange, promissory note, etc. Okay, so this is absolutely the yes statement. Okay class, so that's all for today's, and I hope so you people like this session. So this is your elevation batch. The heavy discount is going on. If you want to apply this batch, apply the coupon code Y391 for maximum discount. Okay, so this is elevation batch, that is very much important. And then we also have a first batch, that is increment pro batch. In both batches, live batches are going on, recorded session, PDF, mock paper, etc. So apply the coupon code for the maximum discount. So what you have to do, Adda 24/7, it's the official website. Okay, click on all courses. Done. When you click on all courses, apply the coupon code, that is Y391. Adda 24/7 official website. We have all courses, JAIIB, CAIIB, CAIIB. This is CAIIB. Click on buy now. Apply the coupon code, that is Y. It's a 391. Okay. If you apply the coupon code Y391, you will get the discount up to this one. Okay. Y39, that is 1. Apply. See, 82% is going on in the CAIIB Mahapack. So apply this coupon code for the maximum discount, and for 1% more discount, apply the coupon code same. Download the Adda app in mobile. Through mobile, if you purchase, you will get 83% of discount. Okay, thank you.